Welcome
to our House of Horrors that we're doing inexplicably in January.
We never know how we're going to start it, and that's a really good example of why sometimes maybe we should talk about things. Hi, I'm Zach.
I'm Vince.
This is Nerdy Neighbors,
the podcast where we talk about nerd stuff and nerd culture that interests us. We have a blanket spoiler warning.
We spoil things.
Yes. And
we promise to always start this awkwardly.
Yeah.
Every time. Especially when I haven't had that much to drink.
It's almost like we haven't been doing this 8 times.
So we start every week out with news.
Yep.
And I'll go first.
Go for it.
For once. So for weeks I've just been kind of vaguely saying, cool stuff's happening in X-Men. Cool stuff's happening in X-Men. Well, the cool stuff specifically is they've been doing this story arc called X-Men Assembled.
Okay.
Pardon me, Disassembled.
Oh.
Yeah. Which, well, let's talk about that real quick.
That's not their word.
This thing that Marvel does, where we have a good idea, let's squeeze as much water as we can out of that water. Well, like, Civil War was amazing.
Yep.
Did you even check into Civil War 2? Because as a fan, even with beloved characters, how is your reaction to something like that? Civil War 2?
Yeah, I felt like it was very much in the realm of, hey, people like when superheroes fight each other. Let's do it again.
Yes, this classic thing that I call hat in a hat. It's contrite. It's a stupid way to get us to buy shit.
Yes.
So right when I heard the words X-Men Disassembled, I was like, ew. But it's this story arc where Nate Gray, who is basically an alternate version of Cable.
Yep.
Oh, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Nate Gray is, yep.
Nate Gray is basically turned himself into the Negaduck to Darkwing Duck, the Apocalypse. He's the Negaduck to Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And instead of 4 horsemen, he has these 4. I forget what they call themselves, but something analogous to. Good guess, though.
Thanks, man.
He's an aspiring writer. Vince, you guys. But they, guess the first thing they do, guess what they do? Blow up the X-Mansion, which is a classic. People criticize the X-Books for doing this. Mm-hmm. Damn it, man. I love it.
You love this one building being destroyed.
You cannot blow that building up enough for me. And then build it a different way. And I mean, I know people like their iconic... podcast mascot, Gaston. Sometimes you can hear him, sometimes you can't. I know people like that iconic mansion that we know from the 90s cartoon. And it always is some version of that. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I think... on a certain level, writers do it because they know critics are going to be like, oh, the X-Mansion got blew up again. Yeah. It's like, fuck you, man. Of course we did.
Yeah.
It's a rite of passage.
It's fun. Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. Some stomping on my joint.
Yeah. But so that's a good example of what it is being criticized for. A lot of the times, in my opinion, and this is going to sound very defensive, and I'm prepared to take those criticisms, but X-Men is criticized for being X-Men.
Right.
They're doing this again. Yes, they are.
Because that is one of the story beats.
Which is not to say, like, oh, it's like, do you know, like, the band 311? People say, oh, 311 sucks because every song sounds the same. Right. I'm not saying X-Men is that, but I'm saying there are certain things that are the rites of passage.
Right, exactly.
That you forgive your writers for doing.
If I'm reading an X-Men story and Cyclops isn't sad, am I reading an X-Men story?
So anyways, and it's one of those crossover events, this X-Men Disassembled. I think they have 5 ongoing books right now. It might just be 4. Mm-hmm. But, and, Jean Grey's been back from the dead for about the last year and a half or so. And not just the young her, proper her. Proper Jean Grey.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no. The young X-Men, I can't even talk about that because we'll go into a tangent, but they just did this thing called Extermination, where... younger Cable, not Nate Gray.
Right, yeah.
A younger Cable than we've ever seen.
He kills Cable.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the first thing he does. He's hooded. We don't see him yet. Mm-hmm. This is, again, highly criticized, but in my opinion, classic X-Men stuff. This is what our first episode when we talked about Cable, and I talked about how he's my favorite character, like, of course Cable gets killed by the younger version of himself.
There's certain things that are universally true.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like X-Men, like love it or hate it, it loves the smell of its own farts.
It does. It craps roses.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna hate it for that. And you know, like, so the extermination thing. It's funny that you bring that up. That young Cable's whole thing is I have to put the timeline right, and these 5 X-Men need to go back to their time so that everything can happen, and especially so that he can exist.
Yeah,
for Christ's sake. So 2 of those people are his parents.
Disassemble. What's going on with this?
Well, I'm glad you... Well, let me just finish with the extermination thing. Because that ends with young Cable fixing the timeline. And the younger X-Men go back and their memories, Deus Ex Machina, get erased. Doesn't matter how. And he goes to some restaurant and he reports to Cyclops. He's like... As the X-Men say, I got better.
Yeah, exactly. I put a Band-Aid on my dead.
Yeah.
And now I'm good now.
I actually love that X-Men line. You were dead, I got better. So, Nate Gray needs to save the world, is what's happening in Disassembled. And all these just desperate X-Men teams are coming together and reacting to things that his Reverse Horsemen are doing. Legion is going insane. And, you know, we all know who Legion is, so I won't get into it. But then, through some weird X-Men-y psychic plane thing, Legion and Nate become one. And because Nate's more powerful, he makes himself the psyche that's in charge inside of Legion's brain. So now he has all Legion's powers, and on top of his Omega level psychic abilities. And
Do you think that that's too much? Like, the reason that Legion is so compelling is that he doesn't have control over the powers that he has. So just...
Do I think that's too much, like, as a...
Do you think giving that amount of power to one character sort of... It tips the scales?
You know, he goes nuclear.
Yeah.
And that's how Disassembled just ended. All of the X-Men died.
Yikes.
And there's this newspaper, and somebody's reading it with a hood up. And it's like, you know, mutants dead, X-Men gone forever. And then that guy crumples it up and throws it in the trash can. Got a little red glint. Goes walking down the street, hood up.
Nice.
And so X-Men Disassembled, going back to the original thing I asked you about Disassembled, I would think if I bought it, I would be very disappointed.
Right.
The art seemed underwhelming.
Okay.
It seems cheap to be calling it Disassembled.
Right, yeah.
Which was an amazing... I mean, did you read Avengers Disassembled when it came out?
I did not.
Oh my god. You know, I was excited to read it, and now I'm glad I waited. I'm sure I wouldn't agree with anything critics criticize it for.
Right.
But man, oh man. Like, I wasn't wrong. Stuff is happening in X-Men right now. And also, like, you know, Wolverine just came back from the dead. So all these X-Men are dead except for Cyclops and Wolverine, who...
Final battle.
Didn't end on the best of terms
No.
last time they saw each other. So I'm curious to see, because there's a lot of cover art coming out with them on the cover. Yeah. So clearly...
They're going to meet.
Not just meet, but, like, going to have some kind of, you know, stay of fire or whatever. Like, you know, it's a state of emergency for mutants again.
Right, yeah.
And, you know, the 2 opposite brothers got to put their, you know...
Meet the new comic arc, same as the old comic arc.
I love the X-Men.
I get it.
That's my news. X-Men Disassembled report.
Okay. I got a few bits. This might hit close to home for you, but Buffy is being rebooted in comic form by Boom Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Boom Studios is famous for taking, like, trademarked IPs and everything like that, and turning them into, you know, comics. They've done a fantastic WWE comic, which is just wonderful, and then they do standard other array.
Well, there's been like a long time, like Joss was never fighting it per se, but he kept delaying it because he's got stories to tell.
Exactly. Yeah. He's gonna reboot Buffy.
Well, they are.
Yeah, I know.
They're not rebooting it. It's like an ongoing. It's a new Slayer.
Yeah, a sequel.
Yeah. It wouldn't be wise to reboot Buffy.
No. In addition to that, there is a rumored cameo from Michael Keaton in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Good.
Yeah, I think it'll probably just be probably a scene in the beginning. I'd have to assume.
Would it be inappropriate for me to ask you what you think the story arc of that is going to be?
What the story arc of Far From Home is going to be?
Yeah, because I think I have a theory.
I think it's gonna be a similar thing to how Mysterio was introduced in the recent-ish comics, where he pretends to be a hero. He's using his illusions, and then he fights the illusions. But I think it'll get figured out by Nick Fury and Spider-Man. And
that's exactly what I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I feel less clever now.
Well, I know that a lot of people online were freaking out because they thought that the bad guys were going to be like Hydro Man and Molten Man, but I think it's just going to be the Elementals.
Yes.
Because they're not going to use the Elementals again. So.
I think it will be a la Hydro Man and a la Molten Man.
Yeah.
But the thing that the MCU, in my opinion, does quite well, which is referencing something and doing it justice without
spending 8 chapters on it. Yeah. In addition, Jesus, Christ, that guy, he's being turned into a superhero in a Vertigo comic series called Second Coming. And
tell me more.
I can't, because I found that on a Christian forum, and all of the comments were, "Nah, I'm good."
I have so many questions that we might not even have time to do on that.
I wonder if they'll handle it like Thor, like just focus on the mythology of it, maybe. But like,
or will it be like Bible Man, that Kirk Cameron joint?
Yeah, maybe. But I don't know. I think
it's not gonna be rad.
It might be. Could be dope. Imagine if it was like Lucifer. The comic series, not the TV show. Although the TV show is also good.
Wouldn't you think people would freak out if it was a rad? I mean, oh gosh. We don't have listeners. I don't have to worry.
If I see Jesus skateboarding down a dope, so like weird. Just hitting a 50-50 nose grind as he's going down with his
backwards
hat. Backwards. Yeah. No, that's definitely happening.
What's it called again? I'm sorry.
It's called Second Coming. I think the blurb I read about it, I believe, is Jesus comes back and he sees how the gospel is being like twisted. So maybe it's like a gritty.
Oh man, I hope it's a black Jesus.
What other kind of Jesus could there be?
It should be.
It should be
an Arab Jesus.
All right, moving right along. There's a new Rob Liefeld joint. Major X.
Oh, he hasn't named it yet?
No, he has. But boy, oh boy. Man, Major X comes from a place known as the Existence. So,
this is my wife. Don't talk to her too long. Yeah. Honey, this is Vince. Vince, meet my wife. Existential. Don't talk to her too long. It'll bum you out.
I'm dating this new girl, but man, my old girlfriend, she's a Major X. And then the last little bit I got, American Gods Season 2 is going to be happening March 10th. So fingers crossed we can get through a season of that without the production line like shutting down, because that show is very good. And then the trailer, stop. That show is very good.
It's had some moments. It's one of my favorite books. I don't know.
Grumble. And then the last thing I
love that Anansi thing. Anansi.
The last thing I got is John Wick 3.
Yes.
Chapter 3 trailer dropped, and it looks phenomenal.
I haven't seen any of those movies.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They're very good.
I know. My brother, my family loves them.
Yeah, they're shoot 'em ups.
Mm-hmm.
In the style that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I get that now.
I feel like actually I have one more bit of news. Well, this is way more personal news. I'm going to vamp while I get to this news. For so long, for like about a month, I was reading in my feed that Harry Potter was going to be on Netflix on the 15th. Mm-hmm. And then much to my chagrin, I find out that that's only happening in New Zealand and Australia.
I think the third Fantastic fantastic. Those fantastic movies. I think the third one of those got paused because Crimes of Grindelwald did so poorly.
Oh, you know what my last piece of news was? My last piece of news could also fall under the category of nerdy things I did this week. Mm-hmm. But so Star Trek's back. Star Trek Discovery Season 2 premiere happened.
Right.
Tig Notaro was on it.
Okay.
And it was... they have a new showrunner. And it was a very fan reaction-y episode. I could really feel it. Like, because one of the major criticisms that... I mean, it's Star Trek. So they have a million major criticisms.
Yeah,
but I think if anything stuck to their ribs was Star Trek fans who are like, I've been a fan for 40 years and this is not my Star Trek. Because it was gritty.
Hashtag not my captain.
It was gritty.
Okay.
But I was a little bit more patient,
mm-hmm.
which you might say was uncharacteristic of me. But I was so along for the ride
right.
and liking everything they were doing. And there was a... you don't like Star Trek, it doesn't matter. There's an evil universe in Star Trek called the Mirror Mirror universe.
They call it the Mirror Mirror universe?
We do as fans.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Because the very first episode they ever did it in, that episode's called Mirror Mirror.
Gotcha.
It's famous for Spock. Evil Spock has a goatee.
Yes.
Okay, like...
yes. Now I remember.
Yeah.
Evil
so, bingo.
Yeah.
Evil Abed. So, the captain in the first season is a captain from the Mirror Mirrorverse. It'd be like if the Mirror Mirrorverse me replaced me and didn't tell anyone. And nobody... That's how he got away with it, man.
Which universe?
So, but like, all those criticisms were like... I'm not saying they knew in second season they were going to do it lighter. Right. I'm not saying they had a long-term plan. I'm saying they gave themselves room to do a grittier story and get out if they had to.
Right. And it worked.
For me?
Right.
But the season 2 premiere was like, there's a new captain, and he's fun and charming and likable.
Didn't they do that with Capaldi in Doctor Who? Didn't they start him off all gruff, and then by the end he was like skateboarding with a hat turned backwards?
No, I would say no.
Okay.
I
thought I read about that.
Yeah, he was definitely sweeter.
Okay.
He started out grouchier,
right.
But it was, I would say that was his arc,
mm-hmm.
that particular Doctor.
Okay.
The one before him and the one before that, I think both of their arcs were, hey man, slow your roll, but it didn't take.
Gotcha. Understandable.
He had an actual emotional arc of, you can't push people away,
mm-hmm.
and you shouldn't.
Right.
What the hell was I just talking about?
You're talking about Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, that's it. That's it. It was very fan servicey. Tig Notaro was in it. She was awesome.
Glad to hear it.
I'm bummed that she's not going to be... I actually thought from all the promos she was going to be in the season.
Right.
I thought they were going to get rid of Anthony Rapp and just get a different gay in there. We need to swap out the gays!
Open up the closet!
Yeah, I thought they were going to do something that hacky. I thought Anthony Rapp was leaving.
Right.
And they were going to do some ham-fisted. Yeah. Because from the promos, I could also tell she was an engineer.
Right.
I'm backpedaling because I don't want it to seem like I thought Anthony Rapp was leaving and they were doing some hacky thing of, well, we need a gay engineer.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's not what's happening. Anthony Rapp's staying. And
good.
It was just a fun cameo.
That's good.
Her name was Jet Reno.
That's a dope name.
Lieutenant Jet Reno.
When I'm bored and I'm hanging around my D&D group, one of the things that I'll do is I'll start coming up with names of characters that could also be names of Jaegers from Pacific Rim. So one of my favorites was Rendezvous Daydream. But man, Jet Reno is a close second up there now.
I like thinking of bad journalist names.
Okay.
Like Rich Flavors.
Nice.
You have to think about it before you go, wait a second.
Over to the weather with sunny skies.
I'm Rich Flavors. Tonight the president was shot.
Oof.
Joe of Honduras. Everyone calm down. It's not even white.
Zach, what are we doing this week?
We're doing something we've kind of been waltzing with. We've been flirting with a little bit, but a spin on it. There was a while we were going to talk Venom. We were going to actually go see it together and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We got distracted or things didn't happen.
Yeah.
Now we're so beyond the point that it's even relevant to talk Venom that tonight
we're going to talk about Venom.
Well, also specifically pitching Venom sequels.
Right.
But I like that you said let's talk about Venom because you've seen it.
I have.
I have not, but today I did some homework.
Okay.
I'm not saying this
trailers?
is. I'm not saying this is the same as seeing it at all.
But you watched all the trailers.
I watched trailers. I read some reviews.
That's essentially the
I
same
read
as seeing it.
I read some reviews and I watched some reviews.
Okay.
And I'm not saying this is the same as seeing it,
Right,
but
right.
I can at least go. Well, these are the overalls, and actually there are real specifics about the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a common denominator of what everyone bitched about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, I'm not saying
who wasn't Tom Hardy in that movie.
I know enough of the film that I feel like I can competently make a pitch in the same vein of the film.
All right.
Not just my own little Venom pitch.
So
but let's talk Venom real quick.
Right.
What were your... Because we never talked about it in detail at all.
No.
You've always said you liked it and you thought it was good.
I do. No, I shouldn't say it's good. I like it. But it's definitely not good.
Okay. What would some of your qualms be? Not things
it doesn't have an Act 2.
What do you mean by that?
It doesn't have an Act 2. It starts off...
Don't slap me.
It starts...
Act 2! He just put his hand up the second time he said that.
No, it jumps... Okay, so when telling a story, when telling a organic, compelling tale, you tend not to want to jump around too much, especially in the beginning when you're developing your characters and your world. Within the first, I believe, 15 minutes, there are 2 time cuts. Yeah, one of them, I believe, is a couple weeks, and then the other one is 6 months.
Pardon me. Beg your indulgence. Mm-hmm. We meet Eddie.
Yes, yeah.
And then...
So you don't meet Eddie at first.
Of course, there's some kind of science fiction-y, action-y, James Bondy scene.
Well, it starts off with a spaceship.
Let's focus on Eddie.
Yes.
No. Yeah. I don't want the meat and bones. Let's talk Eddie.
So
I want to understand this time cut. No. I have a specific question.
Okay,
so we meet Eddie, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we establish job.
Yep.
Girlfriend.
I'm a reporter.
Uh-huh.
Or, I don't know.
Girlfriend. Do we establish girlfriend first scene?
Happily.
Answering machine or a meeting?
No, you see them. You see them together.
Okay,
yep,
cool.
They're
so
meeting
then...
at that titular weird bar.
6 weeks later, you're saying?
No. So it originally starts off with spaceship crash. From there, you have a couple week time cut.
And we meet Eddie.
You meet Eddie.
He's got a job.
Meet his girlfriend. Exactly.
He's got an apartment.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think they live in a house. Whatever.
Okay. Oh, they live together.
Yes, they do. So here's the thing.
Okay, so this guy has it together.
Yes. But we do learn relatively early on that he had to leave.
On his shoulder.
He had to leave New York. It's not explained why.
Yeah.
Or what were the factors there.
Yeah.
But we know that he has to leave New York. We see him do a bunch of different reporting. Listening to this, all 3 of you. There's a couple different kinds of reporting that you can do. There's fluff pieces. There's investigative journalism. There's like the big stories, everything like that. And you see him do all of these things.
Oh.
So you don't really know what kind of journalist he is.
It's gonna work so well with my pitch. Awesome.
I'm glad. But then he ends up scorning his girlfriend by taking information from her computer while she's asleep and using that in one of his pieces.
Oh, I see.
And from there, we have a 6-month time jump, and it shows how his life has since fallen apart.
Oh.
Right.
I see. Vince, it's a Venom story. It's important to show that Eddie had it together.
No, it's not, though.
But don't you... How is it not for an Eddie Brock?
So, here's the thing. We don't know what his relationship is with his love interest. We know that they're happily together, but they also go from happily together to broken up in an afternoon.
Well, because her career's important to her, clearly.
Right, okay. But
and he put his career ahead of hers.
No, he just put the story ahead of hers. But even still, and another way of doing this would just be to have Eddie be a bad boyfriend.
Okay.
And that way...
Okay, we're getting bogged down.
Yeah.
But so all right. So
So
6 months later,
yes.
his life's not as much together. He's
Right.
got a crappy
It's
apartment.
not a coherent story.
Is he hunting a store? No, I'm just curious about this. I'm not done with this.
Yep.
He's got a crappy apartment.
Mm-hmm.
He's hunting some shady story.
No, so before he gets fired from his reporting job because he stole information that he wasn't allowed to steal, and then he turned what was supposed to be a fluff piece into essentially a journalistic takedown.
Now, did this have to do with the evil?
Yes.
Okay.
Evil Elon Musk. So he gets fired because of that story, and he doesn't pursue that story.
So, okay. In a way, the movie is also telling us that this guy's passionate about justice, right? With the way he's
really.
pursuing it? No.
No.
No, okay. But
No, he just...
Vince,
yes.
okay. The movie's not... There's a difference between the movie wants us to see that and it not doing it well. Which is your read on that? Do you think the writers want us to take away from this guy, in a way, is a good guy, and it wasn't executed well?
Yes. Okay. So I think that is definitely a way.
That's what I'm asking.
But there's also kind of part of it where it's just like, does he just want to take this dude down because he can?
But is that your artistic point of view?
That might be me.
And not
that
you
might be
going...
putting my own gloss on it. That's
looking at it like a lazy...
layman.
No, not like a layman. No. Looking like... Looking at it not as a writer, looking at it as a different writer, looking at it as a writer who is less trying to make art and more trying to get things done.
Right.
Like, I guess what I'm asking is,
there's
like, and I think what you've already said is like, if they were trying to do that, they didn't do a good job.
Yeah. They definitely try and frame him in a heroic sense.
Right.
But
I'm just wondering...
generally, with a hero, you don't want them to fail and then give up.
Well, okay. Well, I'm not even going to devil's advocate that. I agree with that assessment, but I could see a writer going, well, this is an anti-hero. Like, this is a guy who, in the myth of Venom and Eddie, Eddie is at a low point when he meets Venom. Mm-hmm. And since you can't have that revolve around losing your job at the Bugle and Peter Parker and Spider-Man, you have to come up with other things he has and take them away. Mm-hmm. So a big thing that I heard a lot, and I'm curious about your reaction to it, were effing nighttime action scenes with a superhero who is black.
And then a villain who is gray.
Another thing, as a con, I wish I didn't start with cons actually, because a big
comment... the list is longer.
Well, no, a big common denominator was people liked the rapport or just the chemistry between Venom and Eddie.
Yeah, it was the best part of the movie.
It was a fun Gollum Schmeagol type of thing.
Yeah. It's a little bit different than that.
Well, one person, to lift from one reviewer, but it was a thing that really spoke to me was, he said it would be like if in Spider-Man 2, you could hear Dr. Octopus's arms whispering
talking to him.
Yeah. It was the opposite of the one-sided version of that. And that sounded very...
interesting.
Not just interesting of like, oh, I could see me liking a movie just on that working. Mm-hmm. And is that, does that speak to you at all?
Yeah, that's the high point of the film.
Okay.
You can tell that Tom Hardy is, like, he loved it. He had a good time.
Right.
Everybody else, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few, like, weird character choices.
Well, not to cut you off, but another common denominator was, I'm sorry, I want to say this actor's name. Rasmat. So sorry.
Evil Elon Musk?
Yes, Evil Elon Musk. Yes. Everyone was like, very defensively, this guy's a great actor.
Yeah.
I don't think he was necessarily miscast as much as the script gave him nothing.
Yeah, no, the script for Venom was bad.
Yeah.
The script for Venom was bad.
Just the other common denominator.
Exactly, yes.
But, like... no one was criticizing him.
No, all of the...
everyone was...
I shouldn't say all. Most of the acting in this movie was very fun, and it told the correct story.
And his girlfriend, I don't know the actress's name. Everyone said the same thing about her. She didn't have much to do. And she's a great actress, but, and she even got to be She-Venom, which to me seems a little hacky.
Well, okay, so Michelle Williams, the actress's name.
In my defense, that is a very easy to forget name.
Yeah, no, I'm not besmirching you for not remembering Michelle Williams' name. But, okay, so in the comics, Michelle's character takes on the Venom symbiote and she eats a person, which she does in this movie.
Cool.
But in the comics, that messes her up because she's constantly thinking about that time that she ate a person.
Sure.
And it destroys her. But in this, she eats a dude and then she kisses Venom back onto Eddie and was just like, that's weird.
Right.
It doesn't have the impact that it should.
Right.
Like, I don't know what type of story they were trying to tell with their Venom.
So did it also seem to you like if you were a teacher and this was a semester-long report, like, dude, you did this last night.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. It felt like they wrote a very good Venom story, and then at the end, Avi Arad, who's the producer for Sony, came in and said, "But toys."
Yeah, well, no,
But toys, because now we have a Venom and we have a Riot.
Here's what you have to think about is the kids out there, they want to play with toys, and like he's got this weird, just really.
Yes, no, I know. I've seen interviews.
He's the reason the Fox movies were so bonkers and mismanaged.
Yeah,
because he has this weird idea of these
toys.
Characters.
He just wants to sell toys. He's a toy salesman, not a producer. So, that being said, we should get into our pitches, but we should...
I have one last question about Venom before we do the pitches.
That's fine. Then
I'll hold my statement. This is genuinely glad I was saving this.
Sure.
Would you, and especially in response to what you just said, do you think at one point that script was written to be R?
Oh, 100%.
And that was the movie we should have got. And so we got this.
I don't even know if it's the movie we should have got.
Right.
I think that if producers could stay out of the way, like if they could solely do their job and help facilitate the movie making process, we would have 100% better movies than what we have. But
I'm sorry.
You can't have that. Like,
well,
they need to make money.
Now I'm thinking the Aviara of it all is the reason it's not an R.
That's
not that to be.
That's 100% the reason.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, fucking A.
Yeah,
no tinfoil hats on us.
0%. There's no chance that script didn't come across his desk and he looked at the script, the first page, and it said R, and he closed it and said, "Make it PG-13."
Yeah,
that's it.
There
was also like a lot of weird direction because the director of it specifically picked Riot because he was big and gray.
Yeah.
You had Scream, you had the other one, the purple one. Like, you had other colors.
They're not innovators out there, man. That's like...
You don't have to innovate. Just change the color palette.
You know what you said last week about, just I don't think DC...
adjust color scale.
Nobody wants to be a Maverick.
You don't have to be a Maverick. That's just telling the same story with a different tint on the lens.
An argument for me.
So, we will get into our pitches.
So Venom ends. He defeats the big bad guys.
Yeah. He blows them up with a rocket.
He beats up some cops too.
Yeah, that's honestly my favorite scene. Okay, so do you want to go first? Because you're going to have
should.
Okay, all right, I'll go first. So, let me preface this by saying we do not have to follow the rules of producers. We're able to do whatever we want with the story with our own discretion being our sole guide.
Okay.
So there's 0% chance that what we're doing is anywhere close to the same level as what these actual screenwriters are doing, and we're not at all saying that we are better or anything like that. We're just telling a version of the story that
this is our podcast and 3 people listen to it. Give me your pitch.
Okay. So the biggest part of Venom, the original movie that I liked, was the interactions between Venom and Eddie, because it was like watching a couple come together.
Yeah.
So I want to sort of build on that. So the theme of my Venom sequel is going to be a trope that happens in real life, where once you get into a relationship with somebody, after the honeymoon phase ends and you start realizing how much you rely on that person, you start feeling like maybe you're not good enough.
Okay.
So the theme of my Venom 2 is Eddie's worried that he isn't good enough for Venom.
Oh my god.
And that Venom is going to find someone better.
Okay.
All right. So what I want to do with this, a very simple thing that you can just get out of the bat, you can build your universe like crazy because you can show Flash, you can show the various Venom offspring, and you can show Eddie living.
Flash Thompson?
Yeah, because he becomes Agent Venom.
Yeah. Well, he's Venom for a little bit too.
Yeah, but like my idea being that if you have this story where Eddie is worried that somebody better is going to come along, you could show like on a news broadcast, war hero Flash Thompson comes back with blah blah blah, and Eddie's just sitting there. And he's just like, well, why wouldn't you go with somebody like that? Boom! Now Flash Thompson's in your universe. It opens up Agent Venom later on, stuff like that. So here's my actual pitch. So it opens up almost identically to Predator 2.
Okay.
Because I want...
You're talking to the right guy.
Yeah. So I want...
A movie I've seen more than the actual first Predator.
So in my story, my Venom 2 is Venom versus Kraven. I know that we're not going to get Venom versus Kraven as the second movie. It's going to be Carnage. It has to be Carnage. Venom versus Kraven is my Venom 2.
Right.
And it is going to start off with Kraven the Hunter, and he is hunting some rare animal that has made its way to San Francisco.
Do we get like an Indiana Jones type beginning? Where like, we're in a jungle? Like that type of...
So my idea is that some rich person bought this very rare tiger or whatever, and is keeping the tiger in their penthouse.
Oh.
But this specific tiger has a body count.
Okay.
Like I want to build this tiger up. But the intro is essentially watching Kraven hunt this tiger.
Right. In a penthouse?
In a penthouse, yes.
Okay.
But I like the idea of just a
He has to break into the penthouse too and like take out the security guards and that type of thing?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Just before he's about to kill the tiger, Venom bursts through. Big fight, Act 1. Put the stakes out there.
Right.
Kraven is...
What are the stakes? Venom doesn't like Kraven?
Well, Venom is now the lethal protector of San Francisco.
Oh.
So...
Oh, and there's a guy running around trying to kill... Okay.
Yep. So, first fight, Venom and Eddie get their butts whooped. And Kraven kills the tiger.
Nice.
Yeah. This is going to start building in Eddie the I'm not good enough for you side.
Okay. Who's playing Kraven? Oh, you haven't thought about this?
I would like
John
Hamm from 10 years ago.
You wouldn't cast Kraven like swarthier and more like, is it cool to say ethnic? I don't know.
I mean, you have more of a right to it than I do.
I would go more the, like, big ass, like, I don't know, who's a skinnier Rock?
Skinnier Rock.
Like, that kind of, like, you also
Michael
want him to look
B.
like...
Jordan.
Michael
Kraven. Michael, you're my everything.
Who's that guy? You want a cool ass Raven. You want like a Antonio Banderas type of guy.
Yes. Who's it like a... Do you think Armie Hammer could work?
Yes.
All right, Armie
nailed
Hammer.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I want the big ass lion head.
Yeah.
Like I want that vest.
Yeah.
So Eddie and Venom get their butts whooped, and then Kraven just kills the tiger and leaves.
All right.
You're not worth it. All right. Venom, after the fight, is trying to reassure Eddie, like, it's not you. You didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. You know, allude to, give yourself that lair. You know, I like the impotence of Eddie Brock. I think that's a fun thing that you can play around with.
Mm-hmm.
So, Eddie deciding that he...
But, like, I'm just curious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see him not on board. So, like, when he's going... I'm just curious what's fun about this. So, like, when he's going, I'm not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
is Venom not going... Like, is Venom like, no, baby, you're great? Like,
That's what Venom is doing. Venom is...
Really?
Yeah. Because you have to...
Obviously, in a cooler way. From
the lore of the first movie, you learn that Eddie Brock and Venom are sort of built to be with one another.
Okay.
So
I haven't seen the first movie.
So Venom needs that.
All right.
And he just needs Eddie to get his shit together.
Right.
So...
so this would be like a cooler version of that.
Exactly.
It'd be like,
Yeah. There are certain things that I can't... I haven't typed up this.
Of course not.
But like, it'd be like... on this at 2 p.m.
It'd be like Venom, like, going like, well, if you get your balls in a girder or whatever, I don't know, like... Improv expert.
What do up here?
No, if like Venom's being like, you gotta focus. He's not being
antagonistic.
Yeah. You gotta focus and this shit will work better or something like that, but in a cool way.
Nope. Eddie is 100% feeling anxious. Venom is totally on board. He loves this relationship that they have, and Venom doesn't want to lose it.
Right.
Eddie is terrified of losing it, and which is pushing them apart.
Right.
So after he sort of resigns himself, Eddie decides that he's going to try and make a difference. He's going to use his contacts in the journalism game to try and track down whoever this guy was. And as Eddie's asking these questions out, like, to himself and to his contacts, you kind of hear Venom just, like, sort of murmuring to himself, like, maybe Eddie will say something like, he had a tiger's head on his vest. And,
right.
And Venom's just like, well, it was actually a lion.
Okay.
And build stuff up like that.
Yeah.
I would have a scene probably a little bit later on that follows Kraven. And it is Kraven and probably like a major domo of his where they're just walking around and the major domo is talking to Kraven. He says, well, if you had him in your sights, why wouldn't you just kill him then? And then this is where we learn that Kraven came to San Francisco specifically to hunt Venom. He just didn't want to hunt Venom when he wasn't at his prime, and he knew that fighting Venom at that time he was not.
I hate to accuse you of writing a Kraven movie.
Yeah,
you're supposed to be pitching a Venom sequel.
It can be.
But
honestly, there isn't too much development for Kraven in there, which is...
He sounds cooler so far.
Yeah, he does sound pretty neat. But we learned that Kraven is here to hunt Venom. And Kraven alludes to something that happened in New York.
I thought you'd do something like this eventually.
Gotta do it.
Yep.
So, after that scene, Eddie finds out that Venom knew Kraven from before. And then you sort of get that hint of jealous Eddie.
Yeah.
Venom...
But that's also like supposed to be a wink at us, right?
Exactly, yeah. So, Venom tries to coach Eddie to fight Kraven the way that he did with his previous host.
Oh, now I'm listening.
Right, so now you got like this montage of like Eddie trying to do these things that came naturally to the other guy.
Yeah, like web slinging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he just can't get the hang of it because he's not that kind of guy.
Right.
The words I have written here: Venom tries coaching Eddie to fight Kraven the way he did with his previous partner. ... Yikes. That's just trying to take something from an old relationship and doesn't work out.
Yeah.
All right. So after that montage, we have Kraven vs. Venom 2. Eddie tries using what he learned from Venom, but it doesn't come naturally. Kraven ends up winning again, and again he refuses to kill Venom.
Right.
He's like, you're not worth it right now. What happened to you? Where's the creature I fought in New York?
Right.
Eddie gets word back from his contacts. He finds out Kraven's identity and where he's holed up. And I would have it be some, like, luxurious penthouse that's floor to ceiling, jungle.
And these are wide swaths, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're just
outlining. Yeah, there's plenty of scenes. I'm not going scene for scene.
Yeah. That's all I have, too, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Mine's not that different.
So, yeah. This is going by quick. So from there, we have Venom, or Eddie more so. He realizes, he starts to realize that, like, listen, I can't do it. I'm just not the best host for you. You need to go find somebody who's better. It just won't work out between us. I'm only going to hold you down. You can go. You can make a difference here. I'm just a failed reporter.
Right.
Venom vs. Kraven 3. Kraven's winning. And Venom is kind of like spurring on Eddie. And Eddie starts lashing out. Like, he's just venting frustration, and he's getting aggressive, and he's fighting in a way that we haven't seen Eddie Venom fight before. And while it's happening, you hear Venom just, like, cheering, because this is what he wants. And
let the bodies hit the floor starts playing.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Yeah, that's a rad moment.
Eddie attacks in ways that are more vicious, letting out all his frustrations. Venom is euphoric and tells Eddie that this is the reason they're together. He couldn't get this from anybody else.
I see. So it's about the rage, or the focus of rage?
It's about worrying that you're not good enough.
Right.
And then realizing that that is what makes you good enough.
Right. So that's more important than... Okay.
So after the third fight, Venom wins. This is going to be the climactic fight of the overall.
Does he kill Kraven?
I wouldn't have him kill Kraven.
So, does Kraven somehow just get away, or does Eddie go like, fucking, I'll let you
No.
live?
I would have him do something
like
terrible.
Take his fucking lion thing.
I would have him
something?
take his arm.
Okay.
Like, he rips Kraven's arm off.
Dope!
Yeah.
You can bring it back with a robot arm.
And then the last, I have a quote written down for after the fight ends.
I'm listening.
And it's Venom saying to Eddie, "Was that as good for you as it was for me?" Just wonderful.
Awesome.
I think that the way to do this Venom series that we're going to get regardless is not to build up the superhero angle of it, but to build up the relationship between two star-crossed lovers who need each other desperately.
Right. Okay.
This is more so a relationship movie than anything else.
I only have... I have one major note, and then a couple of quibbly things that you're going to hit me for bringing up.
Sure. Hit me.
There are no women in your film. It would be my major note.
You're correct. The major domo could be a one.
Yeah, okay.
But
I mean, there's no women are central to anything that happens in this film.
Yeah, you are.
Would be my one note. If we were making this, I would say we should take a hard look at that. I'm not saying there needs to be a romantic interest, but
well, that's the thing about it is Venom is Eddie's romantic interest.
Right. We just need,
and with the way that the last movie ended,
there's too many dicks on the dance floor. I don't need it to be a romantic interest. Domino wasn't anyone's romantic interest in Deadpool 2.
Right.
We need less dicks on the dance floor.
Yeah, that's fine. Introducing a female character. I don't
can't
like the idea of introducing a female character to introduce a female character.
But I don't like the idea of this man-only world. Like, when...
Right.
Like,
if I were to make Kraven a woman, would that...
No.
No?
Because, well, I'd be fine with that, but I just don't think it would fly. And I'd be also fine with him having a girlfriend,
not watch my movie,
and a major doom. No, that's fine. That's fine. These are notes.
Yeah. No, I joke like nobody's gonna watch it anyway. Let's make Kraven a woman.
I don't know why I'm getting defensive now. Yeah. I'm so scared to say any of these criticisms.
No, go for it.
It's the first thing I think when you finish that is like, well, we need some ladies, and not because I need someone to be hot in the film. It's like
women exist in real life.
They do, and they should in our world.
I'm 100% on board.
Yeah.
Yes. Like again, this is very bare bones. This isn't going to be. This isn't anything like a.
And I think a romantic interest for Eddie would actually distract from what you're trying to do in your film. So I'm not suggesting that at all.
No, the more I think about it, the more I really like making Kraven a woman.
Yeah, me too. I just don't hashtag. And then my other quibbly thing would be, and this is such a studio note, but like you need a third party, not for them to, something I liked about Ant-Man was the annoying
Michael
the
Pena?
annoying, yeah, no,
I was about to say.
not Michael Pena, the
Annoying.
the annoying criminal guy, the annoying criminal businessman guy. They're-
Molly Gox.
Yeah. Like, I loved that fly in the ointment kind of thing. Like, I think something like that's really going to help especially Eddie. Like, if he fails against some losers,
Right.
or something like that. Like,
That's actually a good scene to put in. Like, put in just a minor,
yeah,
like a road.
not a B story per se, but someone who can to the audience seem like a threat, but also to these characters seem very small.
Okay, all right. What about this? What if I
and could make themselves irritating?
What if I introduce Eddie and Venom, sort of stalking like this low-level criminal? Stiltman made his way to San Francisco.
Yeah, something like exactly
Right.
is exactly what I'm asking for.
I would have Eddie and Venom like take him down, and they're just like, "You tried again, Barry?" And
Yeah,
he's just like,
yeah.
Gotta try, Eddie.
Something like that. Something that it could. Just a small thing that he has to get over. Which I know you're just outlining. I'm sure if you got into it, I'm going to stop apologizing for these notes.
Please.
At some point. And then, that's actually my final note. Because it is just an outline. My final note would be like, you need somebody else.
Right.
You can't. You can't. It is less compelling just these two guys banging their heads against each other in 3 top scenes.
Yeah.
There needs to be something else, and especially something else that can get in both of their ways.
Right.
Again, not for a team up, but
Have Stiltman trying to steal the tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something exactly like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that, especially that all of us can go, look how easily he was dispatched and he was in the whole film.
Right.
And that would be it. But like, the big one is like, oh my God, dude. There's vaginas out there. You know that, right? Which is funny because I know that really probably doesn't speak at all to your personality. And you did this afternoon say, what are we doing again tonight? And
Yeah.
I laughed and
Just
said,
need a refresher. I had
we're
an idea.
pitching a movie to each other. I've been thinking about this for a week.
Well, as somebody who's been thinking about it for a week, let's hear your pitch.
You're going to love this.
I am.
Right. I mostly have an opening scene and then big things after that.
Okay.
Daytime. All right.
Yep.
Eddie Brock walks down the street of a city. I actually didn't know it took place in San Francisco. So, San Francisco.
Perfect.
Keeping to himself, hands in his pockets, wearing something cool in black, probably some jeans, cool black leather jacket. Elements of white in his sneakers and stuff like that.
How many bracelets does he have on?
0.
Oh.
I didn't see the film. Is he wearing bracelets?
All the time.
Okay, so then black and white bracelets. But black and white, man. All right?
I got you. He's got
Especially
he's
against...
got to stick to.
God bless him. Especially against colorful San Francisco. This is my movie. I want him to really contrast against...
No
something that looks active. Something that looks active and happy, but that he is not a part of.
Okay, gotcha.
He's existing in it, but not a part of. All right? And that'll happen for a while.
Right.
I'm actually... You'll be upset to know I have not picked a main villain for that. I thought me and you would.
Sure.
Moving forward. He strolls past some buildings, some busy businesses, lots of people, interacting with each other happily. Again, not a part of it. Alarms ring. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Bank.
Being robbed.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right? 3 robbers come out, and he smiles. He looks excited.
Yep.
And then, so we see him try to turn into Venom, and it's not happening, and he looks confused and irritated.
Yeah.
Like, not confused, like, in a way where he's shocked, irritated, like, are you serious?
Right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then they interact, right? And Venom doesn't understand why they would go after some bank robbers.
Okay.
And Eddie's like, I need your help here.
Sure.
So Eddie explains, what I want to do is do like a Peter Parker thing.
Okay.
Eddie's like, let's bust these robbers. I can write the story for it so that we can get us blank.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right. Now, I didn't know that they weren't doing a Venom eats brains thing.
Well,
like, I know
eats
they're
heads.
sort of doing it. Yeah. But it's not like that's what he lives on, which was kind of the thing originally. I know they've moved on from that.
Right.
But I was sort of thinking, like, we could pitch, he could make some money from that, and they could buy brains.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I put blank, but I was thinking that.
Hey, man. Venom needs
So
to
Venom's like, fine.
Yeah.
And now the robbers got a good lead on them, right? So they go banking after the robbers, and it's a cool scene. And also in the middle
Can you do that weird wall run that he does in the Ultimate Spider-Man video game from
I would love
PlayStation
that.
2?
I want to stay away from any kind of weird skateboarding on cars or something like that. I want it to look like less than the Hulk, but in the vein of that.
But kinetic. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like gargoyles.
Right. Yep.
Especially with the crawling.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I also want him... My movie's going to be rated R, and I want him to accidentally take out an innocent bystander that we, the audience, hate. Maybe while he was walking, some meter maid was really being a dick to somebody.
Okay.
Something like that.
Gotcha.
And that person gets taken out. And Venom doesn't even notice.
Just paste
it while it's happening. Yeah. Because I'm trying to make it fun. Right. Catches up to robbers. I wrote Munch Munch.
Yep.
It's very thrilling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets back to his apartment. It's a little cleaner than it was. I'm trying to establish he's in these black... Like, he looks like he's getting how to be Eddie and Venom.
Right. Yeah.
That he's
symbiosis.
Yeah. He's figuring that out. And he's trying to... And again, when he's trying to say to Venom, like, we don't work. Like, I need to work.
Yeah, I need
like,
to
he's
do
trying to get
something.
back to being Eddie.
Right.
So he gets home looking very satisfied. You know what I mean? And he's clean as a whistle.
Right.
Like the jeans and the whatever jacket, I also want to establish like that he's at a point where he doesn't wear clothes. Like it's him and the symbiote all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very smug, starts typing, hits send, opens up the news on his laptop the next day. Story about exactly the chase that he participated in, written by Betty Brant.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so, now, this is a little hacky, and it might be because I've been watching a lot of Rocky movies. Now, I want to do, like, just a quick montage, not a long one. A quick montage of Venom doing things.
Okay.
And Eddie writing stories and getting beat by other kind of wink at the audience reporter names we might know.
Gotcha.
That Sony can just grip.
But never Peter.
Never Peter. Never. We can't do Ben Ulrich. We can't. There's some. Yeah. But Marvel's got a bunch of journalists.
Right.
And I want them all to be women. And not just as a dig to you. I'm getting to something. And so then Eddie realizes he's not getting anywhere as Eddie Brock. Like. And he also is starting to realize that mostly women are getting hired to do stories. Mm-hmm. So, and especially because he has a conversation with someone, I was going to make it Flash Thompson.
Okay.
I was going to make it like, he knows Flash from something or other.
Right.
Maybe Frat Brothers.
Okay.
And Flash is also a journalist.
Very much like that idea.
Flash is also a journalist, but he's like a skeevy, like a photographer guy.
Okay.
And he's like, dude, like it's the Me Too movement. No one's hiring dudes to write stories anymore. Like he gives them the worst advice.
Yeah.
But for some reason it sticks to his ribs.
Right.
So Venom dresses up like I want the Flash character to be like a Sidney Pollack type guy.
Okay. Yeah.
And so then Eddie decides to use the symbiote to make himself look like a woman, and like just as a joke with Flash, because Flash knows he's Venom, and he submits a story to some trashy tabloid about something that he spies, and it actually gets submitted, and they want to meet him. So then he has to go as a woman, and at that tabloid place, like he runs into this chick, like a Jessica Lange type.
Okay.
And they have like a fun, like meet cute type of thing, but he's like dressed as a woman.
Right.
And the tabloid place wants to hire him. And so he starts making a lot of money being really good at being this female tabloid thing, while also like pretending to be a woman to this Jessica Lange type actress that he loves. And all the while, like not being able to be himself being a reporter.
Right.
And like, that's kind of where it ended.
Okay. All right, so a few notes as well. Probably going to be less. I'm going to try and...
Dude, I was waiting for you to be like, this is Tootsie.
Well, so
All right, this was a bit. I was trying to piss you off and be like, dude, you just pitched Tootsie. Because I was like, I'm going to write an amazing opening scene. And then I'm going to pitch Tootsie. And that's why I said Sidney Pollack and Jessica Lange.
I was wondering, I'm like, that's a weird pull.
Because I was waiting for you to go, dude, that's Tootsie.
I was wondering why there was no Venom in your Venom movie.
I don't have a pitch. I wrote an opening scene and then decided to pitch Tootsie.
God damn it.
But I was really hoping you'd catch on.
No, you fooled me.
Well, it's a comedy from 1982. It's a real specific thing that I was referencing. I have all these notes about that opening scene.
Jesus Christ.
It's a good opening scene, though, right?
Yeah.
I got up to the Betty Brant part, and I was like, then I'll pitch Tootsie. Because in Tootsie, it's just women who get the parts.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. If you caught on to that, then I was going to make him a moisture farmer.
Oh, okay. That's good.
And if you got mad at that, I was going to explain that there are these rings of power.
Shut up.
Because you shouldn't do a Venom movie in a Spider-Man-less universe.
Stop. It has potential.
No, it does.
It's got legs.
It wasn't even that I got stumped. I got so tickled by that idea that I just committed to it. But I also don't know who I like as a... Like, when you say Kraven, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. But I also sort of immediately want them to team up. Like, I really, I want to root for Kraven. Like, I really do. I can't think of someone I really want to pit against Venom. I'm like, maybe...
Can you imagine a Venom Kraven team-up movie where their, like, antagonist is just a jerk animal?
You know?
Like, it's just a bear that's a dick.
My dream casting for that would be, Stallone and Kurt Russell, but like 80s Stallone and Kurt Russell.
Okay.
Full on Kurt Russell is Kraven doing some offensive accents, and Stallone is Eddie Brock, like doing a terrible job.
Just once. I want to be able to do one of these things.
And I take it seriously.
No, and you don't flip the script at the twilight hour. Just...
Oh. No, I thought of this 3 days ago.
No, it's the Batman the animated series thing all over again.
I was so tickled by it, and I was trying to tell Kelly about it at dinner, and she doesn't know what Tootsie is, and she doesn't care about Venom.
Surprise!
She doesn't know what Venom is either, and none of it worked. And she looked at me like, "Man, that's a dick move," but I thought, no, he's gonna love this.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm mad. All right.
We have to do nerdy things that we did this week because we didn't last week.
Then let's do it.
I didn't mean to take the air out of your...
No,
and this is seriously just for a laugh. I didn't do it just to fuck with you. I thought that would land so much cleaner. I should pick a less obscure movie next time I do that.
Or not do it.
Okay, but genuinely... It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I agree. Zach for the Oscars.
What if you went to see Venom and it did just happen?
It was just Tootsie.
You got a really kick-ass first 15 minutes and then it turned into Tootsie. And Venom's like bitching the whole time. Like, why do we have to keep looking like a woman? It's like, I gotta impress Jessica Lange.
Zach, what'd you do this week?
Well... I had like a little mini vacation, and a lot of that mini vacation was playing Super Mario World, which I definitely qualify as nerdy.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Because I had every not just opportunity, but reason to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, I opted to, it's cold out there.
Yeah.
I will play Super Mario and try to remember where the green switches is and get a blue Yoshi that flies every time you have something in his mouth. Star Trek came out. Watched that 3 times. They also came out with a bunch of shorts before season 2.
Okay.
I watched 3 of them. I can only recommend 2 of them, of the 3. I have a feeling the 4th one. Dwight has muscled his way into Star Trek. Rainn Wilson. Yeah. And he really eats up the scenery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen Galaxy Quest?
Yeah, he's not on what? He's in Galaxy Quest?
Rainn Wilson? Yeah, he's one of the aliens.
Oh, he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
been quite a while since I've seen Galaxy Quest. It might have been. I forgot Justin Long was in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I have one final thing. Oh, and just Young Justice.
Mm-hmm.
Keep watching and rewatching. And also, they did they're doing these, and you have the DC app too. You should check them out. They're doing these 15-minute videos of the process of bringing it back.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they do a
behind the scenes stuff.
Yes.
That's awesome.
There's a 15-minute featurette of the writing process. The second one was a 15-minute or 16-minute featurette on the animation process. And then the next one comes out tomorrow. They don't really announce what they're going to be before they come out. But have you been watching Young Justice yet? Have you caught up?
No. I was going to wait until all of it was out so I could just watch it all at once. But I might actually just catch up on Wednesday after I'm done editing.
I'd love if you do a check-in so that we could talk about it. I promise not to make us go on forever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is that it for you?
That's all that comes to mind.
Okay. So this week, Punisher came out, season 2.
Oh.
So, been watching that. Not done yet, but it does what I need it to do, and I'm fine with that.
You don't seem whelmed.
It's not as good as the most recent Daredevil season.
Oh.
So, at least not yet. It might get better.
What episode do you want?
I believe I'm on episode 5.
Out of
13. Yeah. So I still got a ways to go. But
might I ask, of those 5, is there a standout so far for you?
Not really.
Okay.
I like some of the stuff that they're doing with the character, like Frank's evolving, but he's never changing, which is good. They gave him a plucky, sarcastic sidekick.
Gotta have one.
Yep. The main...
You know what the problem with us is? We need a stoic killer.
Yeah. We just need somebody just...
Yeah. We're two plucky sidekicks.
Exactly.
I haven't, obviously, I never watched the first season. I'm familiar with the rough. I know the story they told.
Right.
A little bit
same
more
story they always tell.
A little more intimately than the. It was a little bit more in depth than my Venom check-in.
Right.
I actually watched some.
You didn't watch Tootsie?
No, my actual Venom check-in, not my pitch. Taxi. Because I watched some episodes and some scenes. You can go on YouTube and really fall down a hole with some of those things. Mm-hmm. So I could see what was good about the first season.
Yeah. So the major gripe I have with this season, and it's definitely just a petty, dumb thing that only I am mad about. But do you know the character Jigsaw from Marvel Comics?
Of course I do. Yeah, I know. Okay. Yeah. He was in the first season.
Yeah. Right, but he's not Jigsaw at that time.
Yeah.
One would say that he gets jigsawed at the end, where his face gets all muffed up.
I saw that scene, yeah.
He's still pretty.
Yes.
He's still super pretty.
Yes.
That's not what Jigsaw looks like.
Yeah.
That dude's still 100% bonable.
Something we didn't get into because I got drunk and too exasperated was, with my gripe with season 3, was that they're scared of the costume.
Yeah.
Like they're
Well, I
scared
get
of the
it,
costume. They're
because
scared
that
of
actor doesn't have enough weight behind his name yet to be fully covered, like to have his face not be his selling point.
Do you think that might be?
I think that's 100% of the reason. Just because I couldn't think.
Do you
of
think
another
he has the clout to go? This is yes, I'll do this, but I'm not going to look like that.
I think that as soon as you get cast in that role, they can't say no to you. So
I don't know. That's a good point.
yeah, a lot of I don't know, especially because I had just previously watched Punisher Warzone, which in my opinion does a fantastic version of Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Like seeing this
With an actor who I would say would have more clout to go, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Dominic Gleeson?
That sounds right. Wait, no. Are you thinking of Donald Gleason?
His name's Dominic. I don't know his last name. I promise you his name's Dominic.
But yeah,
Please
so regardless, considering things I did this week, I watched a couple episodes of The Punisher. I also watched Bride of Chucky. Forgot how weird that movie is.
No questions. Dominic West.
Dominic West. Is that yes, yeah.
From Warzone.
Yeah. A lot of weird stuff. A lot of weird stuff going on in D&D. Trying to take down an ancient forgotten church led by a dragon, and now we're in some sort of mirror realm.
Oh, does a dragon have a Pope hat?
No. There's a bird that has a Pope hat. Different thing. But D&D's great.
I mean, things wear Pope hats.
But in other nerdy neighbors things I did this week, the podcast is up and running on Podbean. So if anybody doesn't want to go through YouTube to get our content, it is now readily available on Podbean.
And also, share it.
Yes, please do.
We want people to listen.
Exactly. And then we can have
more fun. I don't know. We'll have a little community. You guys can tell us what to talk about. You guys can, we'll let you guys drive this show as much as you want. Just really reach out.
Take the load off.
Yeah. So let's talk homework.
Yeah.
Homie. I'll start.
Sure.
So I did, it's a Superman book by Max Landis. Mm-hmm. And, there's two different artists in the 3 issues I read. I only read the first 3 issues.
That's fine. I only read the first 2. But the series is called American Alien.
Thank you. I was going to say American Alien, but it seemed wrong to me. Yep. Max Landis, I have sort of a love-hate relationship with.
I know.
He's weird with women.
Yep.
But
that motherfucker can tell a Superman story though.
Yeah, he also has a great Fantastic Four spec script.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they should have made that movie. It is remarkable. Like, he was in line to. I'm going to talk about my homework.
Sure.
But that was going to be the Fantastic Four movie we got with
Josh Trank.
Yeah, whatever the last one was. And then the studio went, no, let's not do this completely cool, concise, negative zone story that didn't even introduce Doctor Doom.
Yeah, from the team that brought us Chronicle. Which is just a Fantastic Four story.
Super cool story.
Yeah.
That's a major bummer. Yeah, it's one of the many things that explains my pessimistic attitude towards studio decisions.
Yeah. But how do
this book is really quite not even cute, super consumable.
Yeah,
it's
super fun.
There's nothing better than a good Superman story. Some of my takeaways that were neat, which I'm sure were their innovations, were the "it takes a village" idea. Mm-hmm. The concept that most of Smallville knows they deal with this kid.
Yep.
And is keeping it quiet is lovely to me and works for me 100%. And it's completely in execution. There are so many ways they could have fucked that concept up.
Right.
But they make it so casual. It's not this pointed thing.
No. And it's not a major, it takes a village part is a major part of the story, but it's not focused on.
No,
it just happens.
And it's not focused on, and it's also, I don't want to overplay it. The neighbor knows, but again, not in a way that, like, then we find out the neighbor knows because Clark can't get down.
Yeah, exactly.
And his dad needs to borrow the neighbor's cropping plane to get him down. And it's the neighbor, so he sees the kid floating up there. And also, presumably, stuff happened when he was a baby and stuff.
Right, exactly.
So the neighbor probably has seen things, and the Kents they're salt of the earth folk.
Yep.
So they're going to tell the
neighbor.
Ted.
Something you got to know about
I hate
Clark.
to tell you, but Clark's got super speed. He might go running through your barn sometimes. I hate to
Also,
to
he's
trouble
been
you.
blasting lasers out of his eyes, just trying to duck.
Damnedest thing. We don't know what's happening.
I'll tell you what.
But like the neighbor knows. They have a family physician.
Exactly.
Who I get the feeling every fourth time he's there for something weird goes, "Are you sure you just want me looking at this?"
Yeah. I like.
But the kind of guy you get the feeling 100% that if pressed, he'd go, "Hey, patient-doctor privilege,
Exactly.
like, fucking get the fuck out of here."
Yep.
Because it's Smallville.
Exactly. Everybody is the Kents.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's the idea of Smallville. If you're not on board for that already when you're reading this type of book, I don't recommend it.
So, how much did you like the end of the first issue, where Clark is sitting at the dinner room table
And he's so excited.
and he's so excited that he can go, he can fly, we can go on vacation.
Yeah, it's the first issue is definitely the growing pains of holy shit, this kid can fly, because he can't control it, and he is like around 8 or 9, so he gets terrified.
Yeah,
like imagine, listeners, if you will, you just start floating up. Yeah. And you're over your house. It would what happens when you fall? And his mom is holding on to him, and his poor father is like running around because he wants to keep his wife and his son safe, and he doesn't know how to deal with this. And he seems frustrated because it would be frustrating. It's a very human story. They don't make the Kents out to be these angelic people. Like, in the second issue, Clark. It's a spoiler thing, but I don't want to get into it too much. So, like, Clark gets into some trouble trying to save some people, and I always stumble over my words. Not begrudgingly save them, but it feels like he's falling into it more than he's
actively seeking it out.
Right.
Yes.
It feels very daredevil-y.
Very.
It feels very Catholic. Mm-hmm. It's a power and responsibility thing for him. And his mom is so upset at him. That's the reason I'm bringing that up is they show all the zits and the cuts and bruises with the Kents. His mom isn't like, "Oh, honey, I'm so glad you saved that family." She's like, "What the hell were you thinking?"
Do you understand how difficult it is to keep this?
Yeah, a secret. And and then Clark is dealing with the fact that, he's different and he feels guilty about it. He feels like a burden on his parents, it's very real. It
feels real.
Yeah, it's very like, if you ever feel like the story of Superman is hacky and oversimplistic, this is a great story to go, well, no, it doesn't have to be.
Nope. Not if it's done well.
And that's what is Bubba. That's what's great about comics. Mm-hmm. This is like it is I'm so glad you recommended it to me because I'm on board for a good Superman story. Yeah, I really turned around on him 4 years ago after All-Star.
Yep. Like that's one of the reasons why I recommended the book itself as homework, because there's so many Superman stories that don't get the point of it. It's not put Superman up against a big thing and hope he can get it. He can overcome, because he always can.
Right.
It's telling the story of a human to somebody who isn't a human.
Yeah.
Like, and you can do such wonderful things, and I think it gets done so well.
But I also have to tie this thread because we opened it up. Yes. So in the first issue, it's the growing pains of flying, and once he figures it out at the end, this comic is dealing with this very alien issue of this kid can fly, and then ends in this very human moment of the kid explaining all the things they will be able to do now that they can fly because they will be able to save money, which is such a kid logic. Like, Dad, we can save money. You guys, I mean, I'm strong, but like when I'm a little bit older, maybe I can carry the car. We can go to Italy and we can go to Australia. Just think about all the money. Look, I'm not saying we have to do this tomorrow. And like, it's just, he just is explaining to his parents all the possibilities and they're just silently listening. And it's just like, again, this like, man, fucking comics. Like this very alien issue ending in this very human, relatable moment.
Exactly. And he's just so excited.
Yes. And this, issue 2 is very much like that. And issue 3 is, I don't want to make it sound not as good. Issue 3 is getting into a bigger thing and I haven't read 4 yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
I really did. I loved it.
For homework, you gave me another episode of the Dead Authors podcast.
If I might interrupt, it's because I know after the hiatus it might not have been as fresh, and I really, really think this is up your alley.
It's so much is. It's become like a mainstay. I listen to about 3 or 4 podcasts regularly,
right?
And it has now joined that. So you gave me the episode of the Dead Authors podcast, the 10th chapter, which is Sir Arthur.
I'd rather not talk about that. Let's just talk about what you...
Okay.
I mean, I made you listen to that because I thought, if this doesn't get him to go, God, I gotta listen to more of this.
Chris Tallman is so great. So great. Like, all of it was wonderful, and just hearing the back and forth between the two of them, and Paul really is a good straight man. He very much is.
Yeah, and he plays HG as like he doesn't like when people are familiar with him. When someone calls him Herbert, he's like, excuse me.
Yeah, go HG. But yeah, I have fallen in love with this podcast. I've listened to the other Chris Tallman episode where he plays Gary Gygax because Dungeons and Dragons. Of course, I'm going to listen to that
Sexton
one.
Now.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
They reference it in another Tallman one where Tallman's being somebody, and Paul calls him. Watch out for the Chris Tallman ones because this is a bit of a spoiler.
Yeah.
Paul calls him out and goes, he's referencing like a beholder or something.
Oh.
And Paul calls him out and goes, "Excuse me. I'm a rather well-read fellow, and I think you're referencing Gary Gygax's."
I think he does that during the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle
It might
episode.
be, because it's the
Are
Gygax.
Are you quoting the Monster Manual?
Yeah. Because Paul was a nerd during the 70s.
Yeah, and it's so great. Just it's something that you can listen to and just nerd out.
Yeah.
Like I told you before we started recording, I started listening to the L. Ron Hubbard episodes with Andy Daly, and man, I'm mad that I just started listening to this. I'm mad that it took me so long. I know, and that's another thing.
If they do it again, because it's done for charity,
right? Yeah, except for 826 LA.
Yeah, and they
it's the same charity that
the L. Ron
sponsors.
The L. Ron Hubbard one is just it's machine gun improv. It's because. I mean, Vince can back me up on this. Paul does not relent in going. So, L. Ron Hubbard, the most famous, what would you say, liar of all time. Yep. And Andy is really playing that aspect of him.
Exactly. And it fits so well with Tompkins. It just fits so well.
Two guys who are so good at, here's the thing. L. Ron Hubbard is saying insane things to Paul, who has to be the straight man.
I never founded it. It's great.
And Paul, while at times is laughing, is also not letting anything lie.
No. No.
So they chase.
You say the RB.
American roast beef? Yes, sir!
You know, it was originally America's roast beef. No. Until I got there. But yeah, it's all in all, it is just fantastic from start to finish. Every episode is equal to or greater than the episode that came before it. And you can listen back and still pick up stuff. Like I've listened to the Brothers Grimm episode twice now, just because I love the interactions between all three of them, and it's something else.
They're in a group together, the three of them, called Super Ego.
Okay.
Which I won't recommend as homework. I will just recommend as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
You will like it. Actually, I will send you something tomorrow.
Yeah, please do.
They do these really fun. All of them are big Star Wars fans,
Right?
And especially Tallman. So when they have Tallman's not in Super Ego, but he's friends with everybody.
Right.
So when they have Tallman around, they do this thing called Brown Squadron. So there's Red Squadron and Yellow Squadron?
Yes.
They're Brown Squadron.
Okay.
And so they go on all the same missions that we're all familiar with. They've gone to destroy the Death Star, on Hoth, everything. The new movies came out, and Matt Gorley, who does those things, was just wringing his hands. So I'll send you one of those, and Super Ego. I really, check it out. Awesome. It's up your alley, trust me. So that was homework. Do you have homework for me?
I do. I'm trying to think.
Speaking of which, my brother wants his brick back.
Yes. I'll bring
He's
that up.
very disappointed in you.
I'll bring that up to you after I finish recording. So it's up to you. You can either get a podcast I think you might like, but I'm not 100% sure. Or I can give you another comic that I think you might like.
Oh, I want to try the podcast.
Okay. So
I really enjoyed that comic, and I don't want to try to chase the dragon.
Yeah.
So let's switch it up.
I haven't made you listen to the film reroll yet.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so the film reroll is it's a podcast where a group of people will take a movie and then they will, using the role-playing game system GURPS, Generic Universal Role-Playing System.
Okay.
They will...
Sorry, I'm not familiar with that.
No. That is an obscure, nerdy thing. But they will play through the movie as if it were a role-playing game, and they will change it up. And they'll end up changing things up because of the way that dice rolling works. But
so, like, for example, Jaws?
They do have a Jaws episode. So, and actually, that might be the episode that I have you listen to because it's one of their better ones, in my opinion.
Somehow keep that in the pod.
I'll try. So, here's what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to have you listen to the Friday the 13th episode that they do.
A film reroll?
Of the film reroll, yes. We'll find it in a bit.
Yeah, I have other things.
The consent of that episode is that the game master who runs it has told his players that they're playing in an obscure 70s, 80s sex comedy.
Okay.
So they do not know that they're in fact playing in Friday the 13th.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. And things pop off. It's a two-parter. You only have to listen to the first episode unless you feel so inclined to listen to both. But I think that you'll like it.
I'm going to two birds with one stone this.
Sure.
I would like to make your homework Young Justice.
Okay, perfect.
And then we can talk about Young Justice at homework.
Awesome. I'll catch up.
And just get as far as you got to get.
Mm-hmm.
By the time we record next, you will have 10 episodes to catch up on because this Friday they're dropping 4.
Gotcha.
So
it's going to be a busy Wednesday.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, Wednesday you only have 6.
Well, there we go.
Yeah. 6 good ones.
Well,
in my opinion. And JoJo backs me up.
I'm excited for it.
And but just to elaborate, even though no one's listening, in the kind of I want to tie this thread that I opened last week where I was saying that my brother was saying he's getting Korra senses. Our feelings about Korra was that it was a lot of build-up and diminishing returns.
Right.
We never got to know the characters too well. Mm-hmm. They would introduce these big things that would get tied up a little too quickly, and it always felt like they were trying to do too much.
Yeah.
And that's a really oversimplistic summation of our fear.
No, I would say it's
our fear of what JoJo was kind of going, I'm getting the feeling that this is going to be too much.
Right.
And, and it's still early, but like I've just been enjoying them. I really have.
That's the important
So that'd be my homework for you, is Young Justice.
Awesome. Well, I will catch up. But I do believe that takes us to the end of another episode of Nerdy Neighbors.
Are your takeaways from this episode? Watch Tootsie.
Watch Tootsie so that way you can get the obscure references and you can infuriate your friends.
But also, there's work to be done yet on Venom.
And whatever sequel we end up getting, I hope that it's good. I really do. I enjoyed the first one. I really did.
And I wouldn't mind if it was Tootsie. So let's wrap up like we always do with our personal goals for the year.
Right.
This year, I'll go first.
Sure.
This year, I will get my paperwork as far as like insurance and all that kind of stuff organized. I'm gonna keep my fridge cleaner, and finally go into Boxer Kangaroo.
I think I'm gonna make
I say that every morning.
I'm gonna make like a sandwich. All right, that's been this episode.